Hi everybody and welcome back. I forgot I was at the hideout. Build a puppy. Okay. Well, I'm starting to get the hang of improvising the hideout and stuff, so.
この水は澄んでおる。火事に向いておる水だな。これはいいぞ。
伊賀の民は愛国神社への思い入れが強いとか。どんなお社なのだ。
私はあの神社で表情宗の誓いを立てた。伊賀が織田信長の軍に襲われたのはその夜のこと。あの神社は私を変えた。あの門をくぐり、蕨から誠の忍びになったんじゃ。
己の道がどこで決するのかを前もって知ることはできぬ。ある日市に買い物に行ったところ、見目の良い男が私の前に土地の実を落としてな。その年に我らは夫婦となったのだ。
Okay, kid, talk to me. Or not. Let's see. Yeah, that's what we're doing now. So this one, I got them all to like get into one area, but I'm not a high enough level yet. Yeah, because I am not level 23 yet. So for now, we're just gonna continue on our journey. But before I do that, I'm gonna go to the codex and read some of our entries here. Let's see, database, main antagonists. Let's go ahead and read about Wada Koratake. This brutal commander was one of the masked figures responsible for slaying Naoe's father, but not before getting one of his ears sliced off. Wada Koratake was tasked by Oda Nobunaga to wipe out the last of the Iko Iki and Setsu, but with the help of warrior monks Kanyo, Yaya, and Mitsumune, I think I pronounced that right the first time. Naoe overthrew Koratake and left him to die in the dirt. Oh, whoops. Meant to go to the next one. Allies, Yaya. Yaya was taught to fear her strength, but married a man who loved her for it. When he fell in battle, Yaya traveled to Haganji and swore to help defend it against Nobunaga's forces. After 10 years of siege, Haganji fell, and Yaya sought her atonement for all that war demanded of her. When Naoe recovered a treasured keepsake for her, it taught Yaya that true forgiveness begins with the self. Supporting characters, Heiji. Heiji is the son of master crafters from Sakai who were killed for defying Oda Nobunaga. Despite his strength, Heiji is a determined pacifist who has turned his back on the violence that claimed his parents. A skilled blacksmith in his own right, he owes his life to Tomiko, who hid him from Nobunaga's soldiers. Heiji speaks little, but when he does, he reveals a thoughtful, kind temperament and a dry sense of humor. Weapons, we got the Kusarigama. Like a serpent, the Kusarigama is as fearsome up close as it is from a distance. The variable reach of its chain, coupled with the lightning-quick attacks from the sickle blade, gives it an unparalleled versatility in combat. It can slash, cut, disarm, pull, and even knock enemies unconscious. Mastering the Kusarigama's abilities, however, requires precise timing, dexterity, and skill to unleash its full potential. And then we got the Tonto Blade. The Hidden Blade and Tonto combination is a lightning-quick, dual-wield weapon. It exploits opponents' vulnerabilities and rapidly discharges damage. While combos can be extended indefinitely, their limited stopping power means one must rely on reflexes and navigating attack patterns rather than overpowering foes. Discreet and perfect for stealth, this combo allows for concealed carry anywhere. And then we got, we read about the long katana, so shuriken. A whisper of metal in the wind, the shuriken, also known as the throwing star, is a small lightning-fast projectile. What it lacks in punch, it makes up for in range, capable of cutting a straight path across long distances and staggering or distracting foes. Shinobi Bell. A skilled shinobi can redirect incoming danger with a strategic toss of the small, shiny jingle bell. It produces an attention-grabbing chime sound on impact. Smoke bomb. Like carrying a dirt cloud in the palm of your hand, a smoke bomb is the perfect tool for creating cover in an instant. Enemy archetypes. We got... What's the new one? Portuguese soldiers. Let me just read the next ones, because I don't think I read anything past the samurai. So seasoned experts in martial combat, samurai enemies will react to action instantly. Most wear heavy armor and will deny your advancement with parries, dodges, and blocks. Their unstoppable and flurry attacks make these archetypes difficult to outsmart. Warrior monks. Warrior monks, or sohei, are nimble, tenacious fighters that can heal while in combat. This archetype wields a variety of unorthodox ranged and melee weapons, like a dual katana, and are quick to dodge if it wins them an advantage. Eye them with caution, as they will investigate when suspicious. Outlaws. A reckless enemy outlaw will do just about anything to crush their opponent. From throwing rocks to fighting with bare fists, outlaws fight dirty. This enemy type ranges from the lowest grunt to stealthy rogues, and can be found in small encampments or overtaken castles. Keep smoke bombs handy to make them vulnerable. Shinobi. Masters of stealth and sabotage, shinobi archetypes can be found anywhere, in hiding or in disguise. While not as outwardly aggressive as other fighters, shinobi will use a variety of tools and unique weapons, like tanto, kunai, or kusarigama, to shape the battle to their advantage. From smoke bombs to thrown projectiles, an enemy shinobi is on one mission to take down Yasuke and Naoe. Portuguese soldiers. These enemy frontliners are agile and evasive, capable of inflicting quick melee strikes and then dodging back to safety. Many carry their teppo, or arquebus, at the ready. There's a foreignness to their archetypal fighting style that makes them stand out so far from their homeland. Use smoke bombs to render them vulnerable. Valuable objects. Insect cage. Insects are also known as mushi, were commonly exchanged as gifts. Popular species are crickets and grasshoppers during autumn, where their chirping can be heard, beckoning the passing patron. Some stop singing when disturbed, alerting listeners to possible intruders. They actually use those in Ghost of Tsushima, so I wonder when I play Ghost of Yote next if they will also have them in there. Sake flask. Sake, the ubiquitous rice wine of Japan, is often served in tokuri or sake flasks, small porcelain or earthenware bottles that are heated for serving before the sake is poured into sipping cups called sakazuki. Activities, sume. Okay. I'll probably read those later. Oops, wrong one. Tutorials, I don't really care. Whoops. Equipment. Upgrading, dismantle, okay. Activities. Okay. Hideout. The League. Some allies, train them in the dojo to make them stronger. So... Huh. Okay. Causing mayhem. I haven't become wanted yet. Oh gosh, I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay. Cultural discovery. Kufun, or ancient burial mounds, are large tombs of various shapes that emerged in ancient Japan during the 3rd century AD. These tombs, which persisted until the late 7th to early 8th century, disappeared with the advent of the ancient state. Over the centuries, there is a notable trend towards gigantism, particularly with keyhole-shaped tombs. These monumental structures are distributed throughout the Japanese archipelago, with the most imposing examples concentrated in the Kinai region. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the largest kofun were believed to be the tombs of ancient emperors of their close relatives, as recorded in ancient chronicles. Gosh, my tongue is like, ugh. The sarcophagus within a kofun is placed in a cavity that may be either accessible or hermetically sealed. Excavations of these tombs have uncovered a variety of artifacts, including jewelry, weapons, bronze mirrors, and Sueki-type pottery. From the 5th century onwards, horse harnesses were also found. Additionally, Hanawa clay cylinders topped with various objects such as weapons, helmets, swords, boats, animals, horses, dogs, or human figures, warriors, musicians, are commonly associated with these tombs. Fragments of broken pottery suggest that libation rituals were performed at the time of burial. Furthermore, murals often depicting the sun in the form of spirals adorn the walls of some tombs. Let's see, did we read that one? I don't think so. Let me drink some water real quick. Okay. Sumiyoshi Shrine. Sumiyoshi Shrine takes its original name, Suminoe, from the cove southwest of the Uemachi Plateau, and was dedicated to the ancient deity of navigation. In the precincts, ship owners offered up more than 600 stone lanterns between the 17th and 19th centuries. The transportation of the mikoshi, a portable shrine to transport a deity, to Sakai during the Great Summer Festival demonstrates the connection between the Sumiyoshi Shrine and the port city. In the 9th century, the deity's influence extended to waka poetry, an essential element of education in the imperial court, and many aristocrats came to worship it in the Middle Ages. It is perhaps thanks to this connection with the court that some imperial New Year rituals or sumo wrestling rituals have been passed down to the shrine to this day. When medieval pilgrims visited a sanctuary, they would first wash their hands with water prepared in a bucket as an act of purification. The Ise shrine still has a remnant of the Mitarshiba, where people washed their hands with river water, while modern shrines have hand-washing facilities. After bowing in front of the torii, the shrine gate, pilgrims would walk along the edge of the path, avoiding the center, into the enclosure housing the main pavilions. At the worship pavilion, they would bow slightly, take off their shoes, sit on the pavilion floor, bow again slightly, clap their hands twice, and finally bow deeply twice before saying their prayer. After 2 additional deep bows, clap their hands twice, then bow slightly once again before standing up, leaving the pavilion, and exiting through the torii. The number of deep bows varies from 1, 2, or 4, depending on the shrine. Okay. Nishinomiya Shrine. That's a mouthful. The Nishinomiya Shrine, Nishinomiya Jinja, located north of Osaka Bay, is dedicated to Ibisu, the first child of founding deities Izanami and Izanagi. In the medieval period, a merchant town and a way station developed around the Shinto shrine, located in the current Shake district in the city of Nishinomiya. The shrine also protected groups of puppeteers whose leader lived within the monastery grounds. These troops taught the virtue of the deity Ibisu throughout the country. Originally, Ibisu was a protective deity of sailors and fishermen, especially those who hunted large marine mammals. With the development of commercial activities in the Middle Ages, Ibisu came to be venerated not only as the god of the sea and fishing, but also as the god of commerce. In villages, Ibisu additionally came to be venerated after rice transplanting as the deity of good harvest and prosperity. The Nishinomiya Shrine was rebuilt and embellished at the beginning of the 17th century by the Toyotomi family. Whew, that was a mouthful. Let's see. Yeah, so we're on this one. Independence and culture at Sakai. In addition to being an international port and artisanal center, Sakai was also a major cultural hub during the 16th century. The wealthy merchants of Sakai, many of whom had made their fortunes in the arms trade, developed a keen interest in tea, a notably peaceful activity. Within their residence, or sometimes in their gardens, they built a tea house or a room dedicated to the preparation of this beverage, where they would gather informally to discuss around tea utensils, from which the price kept increasing. Thus, cha no yu, literally the hot water of tea, which we have come to translate as tea ceremony, was established around an aesthetic of simplicity and austerity. In 1569, tensions escalated between Oda Nobunaga, who sought to seize the city's wealth by imposing a war contribution, and the international port town. However, the great tea master Imai Sokyu, who was one of Sakai's most influential merchants, successfully negotiated a settlement with Nobunaga. Sakai had avoided destruction but was now under Nobunaga's control. Its autonomy was over. He cemented his hold on the city by placing Imai Sokyo in charge of Sakai's administration and making him his personal tea master. Sakai's political autonomy under the merchant oligarchy was effectively over. Yeah, however you pronounce that word. Castles and war affairs. Oh gosh, there's so many. I'm not sure if I read this one. I might have. I'm not sure. But let's go ahead and read about Takatsuki Castle. Takayama Tomoteru and his son Takayama Ukon who became the lords of this castle in 1573, played important roles in the development of this thriving walled city while fervently supporting missionary work in Japan. Converting to the Christian religion at the age of 12, Yukon had a church built on the castle grounds and invited missionaries to celebrate religious services for the inhabitants. According to the writings of the Jesuit priest Louis Froy, the site featured a spacious wooden chapel, living quarters for missionaries, and in one corner a large cross which had been erected near a beautiful garden and pond. Approximately 18,000 to 20,000 Christians lived in Takatsuki. Such was the strength of Ukon's religious convictions that Oda Nobunaga devised a ploy to gain his support by tempting his faith. Nobunaga sent Father Argentino to request on his behalf a pledge of allegiance from Yukon. If Yukon provided support, the Jesuits would have carte blanche to proselytize. Otherwise, they would all be put to death. Ukon accepted, and Nobunaga was not a little pleased. Oh gosh, here's a big ol' list. And there's no spaces in between. Okay, Fukushima Fortress. In 1570, Oda Nobunaga was planning to besiege the fortresses of Noda and Fukushima, then located at the mouth of the Yodo River, not far from modern-day Noda and Fukushima railway stations, west of Osaka Station, and guarded by Miyoshi's men. This was when the Hongan-ji War broke out, with the sudden attack of the temple's troops on those of Nobunaga. Kinyo, the head priest of the Hongan-ji, claimed that Nobunaga had ordered the destruction of the temple, but there is no doubt that Kinyo was secretly allied with Nobunaga's enemies. Hongan-ji hated Oda Nobunaga's authority and always sought alliances with local lords or powerful daimyo to defeat him, such as the Miyoshi clan, Azai Nagamasa of Omi province, and Asakura Yoshikage of Ichizen province. When these allies made peace with Nobunaga, Kinyo had no choice but to follow them until he found new anti-Nobunaga allies such as Takeda Shingen or Mori Teramoto. For the enemies of the Honganji, it was essential to intercept communication around Osaka, since it was difficult to attack due to the water surrounding on all three sides. The rivers to the north and east, and the sea to the west. Honganji's power was sustained by volunteers and donations from believers across the country. For this reason, Nobunaga had it surrounded with several fortresses and warships. Oh gosh. Amagasaki and Araki Murashige. Between the years 1512 and 1527, Hosokawa Takakuni had a castle built in Amagasaki. The castle was strategically located on the land routes between Kyoto and Osaka, near the estuary formed by two arms of the Yodo and near to several landing stages. Subsequently, several feudal lords, starting with Nagayoshi Miyoshi, 1522 through 1564, and Naramisa Sasa, 1536 to 1588, succeeded each other as the head of this small fortress. Araki Murashige also left a significant mark on the history of Amagasaki in the 16th century. In 1575, Murashige dominated the entire province of Setsu, but he turned against his former lord Oda Nobunaga and ended up retreating into the castle of Amagasaki, where he resisted for 6 months against the forces attacking on behalf of Nobunaga. Oda Nobunaga promised the vassals of Araki Murashige, including Araki Kyuzaemon, who was in charge of the castle of Arioka on behalf of Murashige, to spare the women and children if they made the castles of Amagasaki and Hanakuma capitulate. Kyuzaemon and his men left their wives and children at the castle of Arioka as Nobunaga's hostages went to try and persuade Murashige. However, the latter refused. To set an example, Nobunaga ordered the execution of all the hostages. Holy cow. Later in 1617, Lord Toda Ujikane had the castle transformed, now flanked by a 4-story keep, several moats, and turrets. Okay, historical characters. Sen no Rikyu. Drink some water first. Okay. Sen no Rikyu was a renowned tea master of his time. He was originally from Sakai and was the son of a wealthy merchant who held a position in the city council. Rikyu was also influenced by Zen meditation and developed the wabi aesthetic under the guidance of Takeno-ju, his mentor. On the recommendation of Imai Sokyu, he joined the circle of Oda Nobunaga, then of Totoyomi Hideyoshi, who preferred him over Sokyu. Moreover, Hideyoshi specifically assigned Rikyu to be in charge of the grand tea ceremony, during which he personally served the emperor. Hideyoshi and Rikyu were very close, but neither of them had an easy character to the point that they ended up arguing, and Hideyoshi sentenced him to death by ordering him to cut open his abdomen. Then, there is no information on why Hideyoshi acted in such a cruel manner. However, historians have made numerous assumptions, none of them prevailing over the others. Though it is evident that Rikyu made a serious mistake to provoke the anger of his lord in such a way. The 3 main tea schools of today, known as the San Senkei, are all from the descendants of Senyo Rikyu. Okay, we already read about him. I think this is a new one. Hattori Hanzo. Hattori Hanzo was an officer who served the Matsudera clan and their leader, possibly the true founder of this lineage. He was born around the 1545s. He was an excellent horseman and was especially skilled in the use of the spear, known as yari. Moreover, he also made a name for himself on the battlefield, where he earned the nickname of Oni Hanzo, which is translated to Hanzo the Demon. He is described as a leader of foot soldier regiments, Ashigaru, and was involved in capturing several castles as one of Iyasu's corps. Hattori Hanzo is the name most often associated with the ninja's activities at that time, although historical sources are not very prolific, and those that affirm the ninja activities of this family line are all fictional. According to Hattori Hanzo, he distinguished himself in 1573 at the Battle of Mikata Gahara, and gained notoriety in 1582 when Tokugawa Ieyasu found him without an army in Sakai, the day following Nobunaga's death. Ieyasu wanted to return to his homeland of Mikawa, but the roads were guarded by Akechi Mitsuhide's troops. That's where Hattori Hanzo suggested that he take an alternate route through the province of Iga. Although it was a difficult route, it was without surveillance and he could control it with the support of the region. Ieyasu is said to have been escorted by 200 people from Iga no Mono, which allowed him to arrive safely to his province. As a reward, Ieyasu offered Hattori Hanzo 8,000 koku in income and appointed him the head of a troop of 200 soldiers of a modest status, Doshin, some of whom had participated in Ieyasu's escape and had military training as shinobi no mono, responsible for policing, guarding, escorting, and serving as soldiers in the Lord's army. The episode of Ieyasu's escape through the Iga under the leadership of Hattori Hanzo is reported by later sources linked to the Hanzo family, whose reliability is not its best quality. The very fact that this incredible episode celebrating the glory of Hattori Hanzo is never mentioned in the historical sources of the time casts considerable doubt on its veracity. The legend made him the leader of the ninjas, which was probably not accurate given that he was an officer and not a gang leader. Okay, Kenyo. Kenyo, also known as Kosa, served as the 11th pontiff, or Hosu, of the Honganji, the central institution of the True Pure Land School, which is Jodo Shinshu, also known as the Iko sect. He succeeded his father by ascending to this position at the tender age of 12. Throughout the first half of the 16th century, the Honganji emerged as a formidable powerhouse, rivaling the great daimyos. Kinyo, following in the footsteps of his father, solidified his status by marrying a princess from the esteemed Kujo family at the imperial court. The Honganji's influence was bolstered by leagues of peasant believers, the Iko-Iki, which held significant sway in regions such as Ichizen, Kaga, and Mikawa. Despite the burgeoning power of Oda Nobunaga, Kenya adeptly maintained a policy of equilibrium in the Kenai region until 1570, when he resolutely refused to submit. At that juncture, the Honganji was entrenched in the formidable fortress of Ishiyama, later the site of Osaka Castle under Hideyoshi, renowned for its impregnability. Nobunaga's siege of Ishiyama spanned approximately a decade. Holy cow. Kinyo, leveraging the support of regional leagues and alliances with powerful daimyos like Takeda Shingen and the Mori, mounted a prolonged resistance. However, Nobunaga systematically subdued the peasant leagues, and the Honganji's allies, such as the Asakura and the Azai, were vanquished. In 1580, Kinyo was constrained to negotiate peace with Nobunaga and evacuate the fortress, leading to the temporary relocation of the Honganji to the Kii Peninsula. Kinyo's subsequent relations with Hideyoshi were markedly more amicable than the contentious interactions he had with Nobunaga. Hideyoshi accorded him considerable respect, securing honors for him at the imperial court, and in 1591 granting him land in Kyoto. This land became the site of the new Honganji, now known as Nishi Honganji. Okay, Imai Sokyu. Sokyu? I think I pronounced that right. In a world ruled by feudal leaders, Imai Sokyu was one of the prominent figures of his time as a wealthy arms dealer, a tea master, and a skilled politician. During his youth, he studied the tea ceremony in Sakai under the guidance of Takeno-ju, 1502 through 1555. Who was known for his development of the aesthetic philosophy centered on the concept of wabi, or beauty and simplicity, and whose daughter later married Sokyu. Imai Sokyu became rich by producing firearm ammunition, all while being by Oda Nobunaga's side, mainly as a compulsive tea utensil collector. This position gave him the reputation of a dull-faced man, both as a merchant of death and a theoretician of the beautiful tea ceremony, or peaceful tea ceremony. Then he became the Grand Tea Master of Hideyoshi and was one of the three great tea masters of his time, along with Senno Riku and Suda Sokyu. He played a crucial role in popularizing the hot water for tea to be more than just a pastime of the middle classes of Sakai, Kyoto, and Nara, but also made it popular among the powerful feudal lords of the country, starting with the unifiers Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, who performed it and even turned it into a political tool. Oda Nobukatsu. Oda Nobukatsu was the second son of Oda Nobunaga. He was adopted by Tomofusa, the head of the Kitabatake clan who controlled Ise, and then took the name Kitabatake Nobuo. He succeeded his adopted father Tomofusa in 1575. He engaged in poorly conceived campaign to reduce Iga in 1579, but was defeated. He hoped to become the suzerain of the Oda after his father's death in 1582, and for this chose to ally with Hideyoshi against his brother Nobutaka, who is supported by Shiba Shibata Katsue. Nobukatsu defeated his brother and forced the latter to commit suicide. Subsequently, he allied with Tokugawa Ieyasu. Nobukatsu stood against Hideyoshi for a time, but eventually rallied to him, renouncing any claim to a succession. In 1600, Nobukatsu sided with Tokugawa Ieyasu, and during the two sieges of Osaka in 1614-1615, he consolidated his status as a daimyo. Despite his reputation as a poor general and a mediocre political tactician, Nobukatsu managed to navigate through different regimes and ensure a peaceful end, which in those difficult times was quite a feat. I think that's everything now. Maybe. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, and then the next one we will start gameplay.